A time series is observation of a random variable. Observation of a random variable. This could be like a business metric. E.g. profits, e.g. sales, etc. So it is observation of a random variable through time. An observation of a random variable through what year? Through time. That is what we call a time series. Ladies and gentlemen, pictorially, if I was to capture this is how my time series will look like. It will keep on depending on time, such that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll have some days which sales of a supermarket, we'll have some days which are peak days, some weeks which are peak weeks. For example, end of the month days, we expect sales to be very high. And then, of course, in other seasons, we have our sales, in this case here, dipping like that. So then this is what we call a time series which we expect to be varying. And that is why we are saying that it is a observation of a random variable, A random variable is that particular metric which keeps on doing what it can never be constant. It's not possible to have, ladies and gentlemen, parameters in business which are constant, not possible. There will be bad days, there will be good days. Now from there, ladies and gentlemen, we go straight away to what we call components of a time series. So components of a time series. Number one, we have what we call the trend. This is a major component of time series, which basically gives us the general movement of a time series. Which could either be increasing or decreasing. So in this case here, could either be increasing or doing what here, somebody, or decreasing. Either increasing or doing what here, somebody, increasing. Ladies and gentlemen, we are saying that fine, our time series can never be constant. But there is something very important we are saying here. Fine, our time series will keep on fluctuating, but generally there will be that. So I can see, fine, the fluctuations are there, but my time series is increasing. Like that. For instance, ladies and gentlemen, if you're to measure some metrics, like for example, smoking amongst ladies in Kenya, the three of you, what do you have to say about smoking amongst ladies in Kenya? Generally, is a trend increasing or decreasing? Generally. Somebody, you have to write something there. It is increasing. These young ladies, you can see what they are doing out there. I don't know whether it came because of the shisha thing. People are really doing what here, they are really small. So generally, there could be, in this case here, those variations, troughs, and of course, in this case here, peaks. But at the end of the day, we are seeing that this is what here, an increasing trend. So when we talk of a trend, what we are supposed to understand is that a trend represents what we call the general movement of a time series. Go to the second component. Ladies and gentlemen, the second component of the time series is what we call, the seasonal variations. Seasonal variations. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk of seasonal variations, tell us there that this is the component of the time series, that fluctuates due to changes in weather, or religious beliefs, believes. So you're saying, ladies and gentlemen, that seasonal variations represent what? These are components of the time series. Components of the time series that fluctuate due to changes in weather or religious beliefs. Ladies and gentlemen, these two metrics normally will give us what here? Seasons. For example, what do we expect of sales during Christmas? Sales of a supermarket during Christmas. Christmas is a religious function. We expect sales to be up there at the roof. Ladies and gentlemen, during weather, for example, weather seasons, like if it's raining, we expect sales of some parameters. We expect sales of some products to increase. For example, umbrellas. So in this case here, weather will always bring seasons. Will make some product seasons here to be good, other product seasons to be bad, like that. So all those changes of our time series, ladies and gentlemen, that are attributable to changes in weather or religious beliefs, religious functions, which of course will be coming as a time passes by, will be known as seasonal variations. Will be known as seasonal variations. Very important for us to appreciate that. That is number 2. Seasonal variations, always mention weather, stroke what year, religious beliefs. Always mention weather, stroke religious beliefs. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Please allow me to take on the third one. So the third one is what we call the cyclic variations. The cyclic variations is our third component. So cyclic variations, ladies and gentlemen, what do we have under cyclic variations? Under cyclic variations, what you're supposed to know is that these are those changes. These are those changes in what year, somebody? In time series, in time series that are associated with what here? With economic what here? Factors. With economic factors, or basically with economic cycle. So they move as per the economic cycle. When the economic cycle makes a change, we expect those particular time series to also change. Ladies and gentlemen, remember our economic time cycle. Our economic time cycle will always move like this. So we'll be having what we call up here the economy. If this is our economy, we'll be having what we call the boom. Of course, we'll be having what we call depression there. So, ladies and gentlemen, when, for example, the economy is performing very well, booming up there, when it is booming up there, then automatically we expect also our time series like sales to increase, because people will be having some economic empowerment. People will be having the power to purchase. When the economy is at depression, like now the economy of Kenya is at depression, basically because of the corona thing, people do not have purchasing power. You will get people outside there really complaining, businessmen complaining, ladies and gentlemen, that we can't sell. So this is the thing that you're supposed to know, that whenever we talk of cycles, remember the economy always keeps on moving in cycles like that. At times, our economy, like during Kibaki time, we are told the economy was booming. During Uhuru's time, we are told that the economy is down there. I don't know how truthful that is, but the concept is when the economy is at the peak here, we expect to sell more. So I hope that is okay. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please allow me to go to the fourth component. So fourth component, what do we have here? The fourth component is what we call the cyclic variations. Please give me 1 minute, address some small issue. So cyclic, at least that you have been able to understand. So we go to the fourth one. The fourth one is not cyclic. The fourth one is supposed to be erratic occurrences. So erratic occurrences, ladies and gentlemen, are which ones here? Erratic occurrences, what we have here under erratic occurrences, you're supposed to know is that these are those sudden changes. These are those sudden changes, those sudden changes in the time series, comma, highly attributable to who? Attributable to like natural disasters. Natural disasters. Highly attributable to natural disasters. They are very sudden. Very good example is if, for example, you were to have an area where we are struck with earthquake. If an earthquake was to strike, for example, a particular area, that sales of that particular business, ladies and gentlemen, can easily go to even zero. It was maybe going up, and then we'll have this sudden change. So in this case here, we have this is the drastic change, which basically will be what here? It is quite erratic. An erratic occurrence. Whenever they talk about erratic occurrences, ladies and gentlemen, always remember the things to do with what here? Natural disasters. Always remember the thing to do with natural disasters. That is very important for me. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the thing that I wanted you to understand in this very short session are the models of decomposing a time series. Tell us there. Decomposition of a time series. Decomposition of a time series. Decomposition of a time series. Decomposition of what here? A time series. Ladies and gentlemen, to decompose a time series is to break it down. So to decompose means what here? Break down a time series, into its components. Break down a time series into its components. So we have two models. There are two models. Number one, we have the additive model. And then number two, we have the multiplicative model. So additive versus what here? Multiplicative. Additive model versus multiplicative model. Additive model versus multiplicative model. So we're going to explain each one of them. We start with the additive model. So the additive model, ladies and gentlemen, it states that our y should be equal to the trend plus s. Our y should be equal to the trend plus what here? Plus s. Where y is the time series, t is the trend, s is the seasonal variations. So somebody may wonder, ladies and gentlemen, how comes, of course we have said here plus because of the additive. We've said plus because of the additive, but somebody may wonder, how comes we are leaving out erratic and cyclic? How comes we are leaving these out, and yet we said that our time series has got how many components? 4 components. Ladies and gentlemen, we are leaving these two out because they are highly unpredictable. We are leaving these two out because they are highly unpredictable. Ladies and gentlemen, it will be very hard for you to predict the economy. Very hard for you to predict any economy. At times, you may think that this economy will be up there. Like in 2020, we thought, for us at school, we thought 2020 was to be our best year, but Corona came and snatched like 90% of our revenues. So the economy, ladies and gentlemen, cannot be predicted with precision. The same case with this erratic economy cyclic, you can't predict this. And the cyclic economy, you can't predict this. The same case with the erratic, these earthquakes, you can't really predict them like that. So the most important thing that you're supposed to understand is that we are leaving out these erratic and the cyclic components out of our two models of decomposition, simply because they are what here? Simply because, ladies and gentlemen, they are what here? Simply because they are unpredictable. They are unpredictable. So for us to be able to understand what we are talking about, ladies and gentlemen, today, I would want us to look at November 2018. November 2018. November 2018. Question number 4. November 2018. Question number 4. November 2018. Question number 4. Do we have that question? 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 Do we have the question? Do we have the question? Do we have the question? November 2018. Yes or no? Please talk to me. Do we have? David says no. David says no. David says no. Any person who has it? Is there any person who has it? If you have it, please take a snapshot and send it in our WhatsApp. Send it in our WhatsApp. It's on WhatsApp already. So we are told there, the data below represents the number of students enrolled in a certain college over a 4-year period. So they have given us 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. So they want us to give them the adjusted seasonal component for each of the 4 quarters using multiplicative model. But I would want to just modify this a little bit and talk of what here? Additive model, because it is the one that we are looking at the moment. So I would want to just modify that. We work with additive model. So ladies and gentlemen, the first thing that I will do in such a question is to come and organize this data in columnar form. So columnar form, we have 2015. So 2015, we have 4 quarters. We have quarter number 1, quarter number 2, quarter number 3, quarter number 4. We have 2016. I'm organizing this in columnar format and mentioning my quarters. So quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, quarter 4. We have 2018. 2018, we can only see 3 quarters. Quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3. We can also put it just for the sake of it, but I can see it's a dash there. So ladies and gentlemen, one thing that will be very important for me is to have my lines. You guys are lucky because you already have lines there. For my case, I must put lines. I have to put lines like that. And then inside here, I will come and look at the number of the students. So number of students. So I'm organizing this in columnar form. So number of students, what do I have here? I'm organizing this in columnar form. Number of students, what do I have there? They have given me number of students. So we have number of what there? Number of students. Yes. Yes, so we have the number of students. So number of students, ladies and gentlemen, that we have here, we are copying them down. Number of students that we have, ladies and gentlemen, I can see from this book. If you have the revision kit, of course, you can see RCM's revision kit, page number 56. So we have here number of students. We have 70. We have one. I'm organizing this in columnar form. We have 80. We have 60. From there, we have 50, 40, 50, 40, 120, 80. We have 90, 70, 90, 70, 70 again. Then we have 40. Then we have 60. We have 100. We have 130. We have dash there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would want you to, first of all, write down whatever we have here. It was given to me in form of a table that I've been able to capture the same in a column, to capture the same in a column, to capture the same in a column. So then what I would want to do right away is to analyze my number of students. This number of students basically is my time series. Why? Number of students is number of students in this case here straight away becomes my time variations, my time series, because number of students will always fluctuate as per the time, So ladies and gentlemen, listen. The first thing that I will do is to analyze this time series and break it down to the trend and the seasons. The first thing that I will do is to come and give my examiner the trend. So the question is, how will I be able to get my trend? Listen, to get trend, methods of getting trend, the ones that are very common, number one is the moving average. This is very common, number one. And then number two, we have what we call regression analysis. Number two, we have regression analysis. So we have the moving average, and then we have regression analysis. The two methods which are very common for ascertaining the trend, ladies and gentlemen, are moving averages and regression, ladies and gentlemen. Moving averages and regression. Now listen, when we talk of moving averages, which is now the one that will even be more common than regression, moving average, what you're supposed to do is to come and ask yourself, how many times are they breaking their ear? Like in this case here, they are breaking their ear into 4 quarters. And as such, I'll come and give my examiner what we call the 4-quarter moving average. Could you kindly write this in full? 4-quarter moving average. You have to write it somewhere that this 4 QMA is 4 quarters. 4 quarters moving average. 4 quarters moving average. So the question is, why did we decide to work with 4? It's because of how the examiner has split down his ear. If, for example, the examiner was to split down his ear into 2 seasons, then I would have said 2 season moving average. So in this particular case, they have split down each year, you can see, into how many quarters? 4 quarters. And as such, the first thing on the road of getting the trend is for you to give us 4-quarter moving moving average. So how do we get this 4-quarter moving average? Ladies and gentlemen, to get the 4-quarter moving average, you see they want us to be taking into consideration 4 quarters. So what you'll do, you'll come and give me the total of the 4 quarters. Give me the total of the 4 quarters. Please add them. The total of the 4 quarters. What do we have? I can see, ladies and gentlemen, what we have here is 70 plus 100 plus 80 plus 60. So I would want you to give me the figure you are getting. So we are taking 4 quarters at a time. At a time, how many quarters? 4. We're getting the total as 310. That is from Veni. What about from these other students? The other students, what are they able to get, ladies and gentlemen, when they add the 4 values? What are they able to get? When they add the 4 values, what are they able to get, David? What are you able to get, David, when you add the 4 values? 310 years. So 310, but I'm in need of an average. I want an average. So then what you need to do is to come and divide that figure by 4. You divide that figure by 4 because you want an average. You want the mean. So divide that figure by 4. When you divide by 4, what are we getting there, somebody? When we divide by 4, what are we getting there, somebody? I want an average. Now listen. When you get this 77.5 as your 4-quarter moving average, the question will be, where should we write this 77.5? We should write 77.5 right at the middle. Right at the middle of my year. My year here is 2015. Middle of my year will be at the center there. Because this figure is supposed to be very representative. That figure is supposed to be very representative. And if it, or rather, ladies and gentlemen, it can only be said to be very representative if, ladies and gentlemen, it is centralized. So we are saying that this 77.5, come and write it atop of this line, on top of the line, on top of the line that is in between quarter 2 and quarter 3, on top, because it has to be central. Now listen, once I get the first quarter moving average, which has been centrally placed there, what you need to do is to come and tick the topmost. You tick the topmost figure. You tick the topmost figure. And once you tick the topmost figure, you move on. You move on. How do we move on? We go and get the 4-quarter moving average using a series of the next 4 numbers other than the one you have ticked. Other than the one you have ticked, go and calculate the next 4-quarter moving average. Other than the number we have, so we are moving on to the next number. So we start from this 100. So we have 100 plus 80 plus 60 plus 50. So what are we able to get, somebody there? Total. I can see I have a Maureen. What are you able to get, Maureen, as the total there? What are you able to get there as the total? What are you able to get there as the total? As the total, 290. But remember, I want the average. So if I want the average, I have to divide this thing by 4. I'm getting 72.5. Brianna, are we together really? Are we together really? Are we together really? Yes, so I'm getting 72.5. Now listen, ladies and gentlemen, when I get this 72.5, where am I supposed to write this 72.5? If the very first figure that you began with is a hanging figure, all the subsequent figures will be hanging. So it means that this 72.5 that I've just gotten here will take this next immediate hanging line. So this 72.5 will go there. And once I get a figure, I must always tick the topmost existing number. When I get a figure, I must always tick the next, or rather the topmost number. And then now I pick the next 4 again. I pick the next sequence of 4. Next sequence of 4, what do I have here? I have 80 plus 60 plus 50 plus 40. You say equals, you divide by 4. I'm getting 57.5. So I write like that, I tick. So the next one is 60 plus 50 plus 40 plus 40 plus 120. Whatever I get, I say divide by 4. All the figures will be hanging. 67.5. I tick that. We have 50 plus 40 plus 120 plus 80. What am I getting? I'm getting 290. I tick that. I tick that. We go to the next sequence of 4 numbers. Remember, we're picking 4 at a time because of the 4-quarter. Because of the 4-quarter. So we have 40. We have 40. 40 plus 120 plus 80 plus 90 equals, I say divide by 4. Divide by 4, I'm getting 82. 82.5. Now, this one I don't think I got really it correct. That one must be wrong. That one was supposed to be 50 plus 40 plus 120 plus 80, where I got 295. So divide by 4, I ought to have gotten here 72.5. So that is it. Please go ahead and tick that. So we have 120 plus 80 plus 90 plus 70 That is the next sequence. Next sequence, 360 divided by 4, averaging. I'm getting 90, tick that. So we have 80 plus 90 plus 70 plus 40 equals, divide by 4. I'm getting 70 here, tick that. We have 90 plus 70 plus 40 plus 60, 4 of them, divided by 4. I'm getting 65, you tick that. So we have 70 plus 70 plus 40 plus 60 equals, divided by 4. What are we getting here? 60, you tick that. So we have 70 plus 40 plus 60 plus 100 equals, divided by 4, which gives me 67.5. I tick that. So we have 40 plus 60 plus 100 plus 130 equals, divided by 4, which gives me 82.5. I tick this, and once I tick this, now I've reached that particular level where I only have how many numbers? Where I only have 3 numbers. 3 numbers are not enough to enable me to get a 4-quarter moving average. 3 numbers, don't take this as a 0. This is not a number. 3 numbers are not enough to help me, ladies and gentlemen, get a 4-quarter moving average. So straight away, the 4-quarter moving average ends at that particular juncture when I realize that I've got how many numbers? Fewer than 4. 3 to be precise. So I would want to do some small check here and ask somebody whether these figures, all of them, are correct. Somebody help me out. Are these figures correct? Are those figures correct? Are those figures correct? Are those figures correct? Are those figures correct? Somebody please help me. Somebody please help me. Are those figures correct? Somebody. If you've been doing them with me, of course, you'll not be having a challenge. So I would want somebody to confirm whether these figures are correct. 4-quarter moving what year? Average. 4-quarter moving average. Vinny says no. Vinny says no. How about David? 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 Or you went by mine? No, that will be wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen, there is a student who is saying, Mwalimu, these figures are wrong, which is okay, So allow me to come and start afresh by looking for them. 4-quarter, moving what year? Average. Now listen, the key thing is that I'm looking for how many figures at a time? 4. Let's now be very clear here, 4. So we start with the first one. The first sequence of 4. What do we have there? We have 70. Oh, no. So please make sure that you are doing yours. Make sure that you are doing yours. So 70 plus 100 plus 80 plus 60. Those are 4. I'm getting 310. When I get that figure, I'll come and average it by dividing it with 4 numbers. So when I divide with 4 numbers, I'm getting 77.5. Where do I write this 77.5? At the middle of the 4 quarters. Middle of the 4 quarters is here. So I'll come and write 77.5. And then, of course, every time I get a moving average, I must tick the topmost figure. And then we move on. So moving on means that now we come and take the next 4. Which are these ones. So we have 100 plus, we have 80 there plus, 60 there plus, 50. I say equals, divided by 4, which gives me 72.5. Remember, if the first figure is a hanging one, all the others here will be hanging. So we have here 72.5. I tick that. I pick the next 4. So the next sequence is this, the next 4. So we have 80 plus, 60 plus, 50 plus 40. I say equals. I say divided by 4. I'm getting 57.5. I write like that. I tick that. So we have 60 plus 50, 60 plus 50 plus 40 plus 120. 120 equals, divided by 4 equals, I'm getting 67.5. So come and tick the next one. So now the next 4 will be this and this and this and that. So we have 50 plus 40 plus 120 plus 80, which at the end of the day gives me 290 divided by 4, which gives me 72 point what here? 72.5. So you tick this. So then we have 40 plus 120 plus 80 plus 90 equals divided by 4, which gives me 82.5. So I tick that. Then we have 120 plus 80 plus 90 plus 70 equals divided by 4, which gives me 90. 90, I tick that. Then we have 80 plus 90 plus 70 plus 70 again. I say equals divided by 4. I'm getting 77.5. 77.5. So I'll have to post there. Is this 77.5, Brianna, correct? The 77.5, is it correct? Yes. Thank you very much. I see the first error. So please tick that. Now we have 90 plus 70 plus 70 plus 40 equals, divide this by 4, which gives me 67.75. Is this figure correct, Brianna? David has also confirmed, which is very good. The only person I haven't heard from is Maureen. Perhaps she doesn't have a calculator. So I'm waiting for your response before I continue. 77, thank you very much. 67.5, thank you very much. Thank you very much. 67.5. I haven't heard from Vinny. I haven't heard from Vinny. I haven't heard from David as regards to correctness of this figure. 67.5. Vinny says 67.5. Not 75. Not 75. David. Because remember now here, what do we have? We have 90 plus 70 plus 70 plus 40 equals divided by 4. It's 67.5. Check again, Maureen. It's supposed to be 67.5. Check again. So please tick the topmost. Tick the topmost. So go on like that. Go on like that. Go on like that. So remember, for us to have gotten this 67.5, we took 90 plus 70 plus 70 plus 40. So we took that. So in this case, the next one will be 70 plus 70 plus 40 plus 60 divided by 4. What figure am I getting? I'm getting 60. Is there somebody who is able to get that 60? 60? Correct or wrong? 60. 60. Thank you very much. So in this case here, that has been ticked. So now we have 70. Now here we have 70 plus 40 plus 60 plus 100 equals divided by 4, which gives me 67.5. Is there somebody who is able to see 67.5? 67.5. 60, yes. So we tick this. Next we have 40 plus 60 plus 100 plus 130 equals divided by 4. I'm getting 82. 82.5. I'm getting 82.5 here. Can someone else confirm 82.5 is correct? Correct. Thank you very much. So now we have reached the dead end. Why? Because we can't get a 4-quarter moving average using what are 3 numbers. These are 3 numbers. Now we stop there. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we can't call this trend. We've said, fine, one of the ways of getting the trend is the moving averages, but we can't call this the trend. Why? Because we have figures that are hanging. So now we need to correct that. We have figures that are hanging. We have to correct that. So come and give us a centered moving average. The last step of getting the trend, come and give us the centered. Come and give us 4-quarter centered. 4-quarter centered moving average, or 4-quarter moving centered average. 4-quarter moving centered average. This 4-quarter moving centered average now will be our trend. This will be our trend. The 4-quarter moving centered. Please write this thing in full. This is 4-quarter moving center, central, centered average. Centered average. To center is very easy. Like if I want a figure for this, these two here will be averaged to give us a centered figure. So you take 77.5 plus 72.5 equals divided by 2. What are we getting there? 75. So when I'm centering, I'll be taking 2 at a time and converging them. So like now here, we'll have this and this. You give us a figure. 72.5 plus 57.5 equals, I divide this by 2. Please confirm my figures. Confirm my figures. Tell me whether these figures are correct. I'm now centering. How do we center? We are taking 2 at a time. Thank you very much. So please come and center this like that. You center them like that. Center them. You add divided by 2. So like now here we have 57.5 plus 67.5 equals divided by 2. I'm getting 62.5. Next we have 67.5 plus 72.5 equals divided by 2. I'm getting 70 here. Next we have 72.5 plus 82.5 equals divided by 2. I'm getting 77.5. Next we have, this is 82.5 plus 90 equals divided by 2. I'm getting this one. I would really expect you to confirm for me. It's a 6.25. Please confirm that for me. Confirm that for me. Is it correct? Thank you very much. Now come and move on to the next one. So we have 90 plus 77.5. 90 plus 77.5 divided by 2, which will give us 83.75. 77.5 plus 67.5 equals divided by 2, which will give me 72.5. Then we have 67.5 plus 60 equals divided by 2, which will give me 63.75. Then we have 60 plus 67.5 equals divided by 2, which will give me 63.75. Then lastly, we have 67.5 plus 82.5 equals divided by 2, which gives me 75. So are these figures correct, my greatest friends? Are they correct? Are these figures correct? Are these figures correct? Are they correct? Are these figures correct? Are they correct? And now these figures are the ones we are calling what here? Are the ones we are calling the trend. These are the ones that we are calling what here? The trend. So this automatically forms what we call the T. Very important. So in our next class, we'll be looking at what we call the additive model, which looks like this. Y equals T plus S. When I have this Y, I have this T, then I should be able to get what here? I should be able to get S. Unfortunately, we must really come to an end of this class. Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure hosting you. Bye-bye.